want to know how you see the world. Do you seek out urban beauty? Or do you create your own landscapes? Maybe it's outdoor adventure that makes your world turn. Let us bring your passion into focus and give you the best view yet. At Botwin Eye Group and Oculus Optical, we defy the norms by combining advanced medical eye care with Santa Fe's finest selection of luxury and artful eyeglasses. Botwin Eye Group and Oculus Optical, 2 locations in Santa Fe.
Santa Fe Gloom Podcast. We are back. Another amazing guest and Coach Blackwell, CSU-Pueblo men's soccer. New coach this year. Coach Blackwell, thank you so much for jumping on today.
No, David, thanks for having me. Appreciate being on the podcast and getting to speak to not just someone that is part of the Santa Fe Gloom, but also an alumni of the program and someone that I'm really excited to have a chat with about all things CSU-Pueblo men's soccer. And so really excited to be here, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you, Coach. Just want to make one quick plug for and brag on myself, but a real important message to, I think, both of our audiences. I spent, I think, at least 6 years at CSU-Pueblo. Got recruited by Coach Stanley and Coach Pauly, and I was in Dallas. It was a Dallas Cup showcase tournament, something of that nature. And they said, "Hey, why don't you come out to CSU-Pueblo?" And I said, "Great, I'll do it." You know, I said, "How much playing time do you think I'm going to get?" They said, "You'll probably be starting your sophomore year." I said, "That's all I really needed to hear." And I said, "Well, how far is Pueblo from Santa Fe?" They said, 4 hours. I was like, "Tell me where to sign. I'm ready to go," because I wanted to be somewhere close to home. The soccer experience for myself was life-changing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I met nearly all my best friends in college that I speak to today was through CSU Pueblo soccer and the HSB. So my plug is to all the kids is go out, play college soccer, but also finish with a degree. So I was kind of searching for my degree, and it kind of came undone a little bit on the frame. But this, and I rarely see this, but this is like my master's degree from CSU Pueblo, from HSB, the Hisson School of Business. And, you know, there could be some people who say, you know, well, did you really learn that much in school? My answer is yes, I did. And they said, well, do you really apply it in every day that you own a business or this, that, and the other? And I say, yes, I do. Because I do. I mean, I learned it all from the HSB, and I think it's just an important thing, and the network that you gain from it. I mean, I'm constantly talking to a great friend of mine named Mike, who played at CSU Pueblo, another good mentor of mine, classmate Steve Trujillo out of Pueblo. I mean, these guys really just have helped me in my personal career. And I sat in the classroom with them, you know, during exam time saying, hey, man, like, can you help me out a little bit? You know, like that's all of like the friendships that we have going to school. So that's my plug.
No, it's an awesome plug, and it can only continue on with what you're saying, David, is that like I played Division III soccer in Lexington, Kentucky, at Transylvania University. And like people ask me all the time, like, you went to a private D3 school, like, did it help prepare you for where you're at now? And it 100% did. I was an exercise science major. Now, did my exercise science major like contribute to what I do now? A little bit, but at the same time, like that's where I found my love for coaching. And we had a director of coaching who worked in the athletic department. And my freshman year, he started putting me with teams, being the assistant coach. Then I became the head coach. And then by my senior year of college, in the spring season, I was coaching 2 different teams, coaching Monday through Thursday training sessions, and then Saturday, Sunday were games. And so like it 100% prepared me for what I do now. And so again, I think that for the kids listening to this, like college soccer and university, the university experience, your student athlete experience, not only can help prepare you to have an amazing 4 years at whatever university and program you choose, but also if you do your homework and you're proactive on the front end, you can find an amazing environment to help you grow and help prepare you for the future.
Absolutely. And another important person too in my life was Steve Jantz, who we've had on the podcast, and he was a former student advisor at the Hisson School of Business. I speak to him all the time as well about, you know, just my life and about business and about the Gloom. So again, those are the friendships that I've carried on. I went to school in 05 through 09, you know, so you can do the math. So very exciting. Nick, tell us about CSU Pueblo. When I bring up CSU-Pueblo, I say a Division II powerhouse. So
Yeah.
tell our audience and our guests, why is CSU-Pueblo a Division II powerhouse?
Yeah, I think that obviously before myself and Coach 12 Trees got here in 2020, there had been history from Coach Stanley and the coaches before us that had put the program in such an amazing place. Because when we got here, Coach 12 Trees and I, we both agreed that we had such amazing people that we inherited from Coach Stanley. And we came here, I think that was almost like the starting precedent for the culture we have now of why we've been so successful. Is obviously we've had amazing players since we've been here, and players that have gone on to play in the ACC, like Lamar Bynum, who was on the podcast as well, that we recruited and was here for 2 years, an All-American. But it's the people. Like we finished the past 3 seasons ranked number 2, and number 3 in the country in Division 2. Been to 2 national championship matches, been to the Final Four 3 years in a row, and I think that what has separated us from a lot of teams across the country, what's turned this place into a powerhouse, is the people that we have. We have such an amazing culture filled with 35 student athletes who come every single day with a smile on their face to training, that want to be a part of this program, that want to have football in their lives for the rest of their life, just like you, David. Like being an owner of the team, we always talk to the guys about, we want players here that want to be agents. They want to be youth coaches. They want to be club coaches, high school coaches. They want to go on to play in Division I or be pros or own a club team or whatever it is. We want guys that this is what they want to do every single day of their lives. And I think that's what's really turned this place and continue to have sustained success, is that we have these individuals that they just love football more than anything else in life. And that every single day they're motivated to improve themselves, and we call them self-starters. Like we want guys here that are self-starters, guys that we don't have to manage every single day. Like they want to wake up and they want to find ways to get better. And we have so many success stories, I know, since we've been here, and players that we've coached and interacted with, that their development and the prowess and prestige that they have, we can take a small fraction of the credit for it, but a lot of it is because they're the ones that are making their own history, and they're the ones that are taking control of their journey, and we just provide the resources to them. And so again, on face value, CSU-Pueblo men's soccer, NCAA Division II, compete in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, and in my opinion, one of the best college soccer programs, not only in Division II or Division III, but also when we go up against the Division I teams as well. I put us up there against some of the best as well.
And how do you develop that culture? You're talking about the self-starters and recruiting for that. But just on a lens, give us a lens of just how you develop that culture. Because again, you're right. Coach Stanley developed a great core and foundation, but also CSU-Pueblo kind of went through some lapses as well. So how did you kind of recreate that culture and put together the dynasty you've put together?
I think it starts from the top. It starts from Coach 12 Trees and then him down to me as well. And I know him and I, like all the things I just talked about, encompass who him and I are as people as well. And so like when he was recruiting me to be his assistant coach, like we talked about football, we talked about what does this mean to me, and what are my goals and my ambitions, and how I am as a person, and how do I regulate myself, and like what values am I going to display? Because the change happens when you bring a new coach in. It starts from him. And so again, he was the one that exemplified all of these models and behaviors as well. And obviously, once he brought me in as well, then him and I, we were like, all the players that have played for us say him and I are like yin and yang, because him and I work so well together. But at the core of him and I, we both just love football so much that the players saw it from us, how much we cared, how much thought went into every single day, how much we wanted to help them. I think that was one of the biggest ones. I think early on is that if you ask those players, the amount of individual or small group sessions or staying after training to help them, like they can tangibly see these two individuals, they want to help me and they want to help me grow. And once you build that trust with the players and they know that you're there genuinely for them and that you want to help them succeed both on and off the field, then that's when they're like, you know what, these guys are going to do everything they can to help me. I'm going to do everything I can to help them. And I think that over the time that I've been here, that relationship has only intensified tenfold. And so I think that starting from the top of the leadership, I think that we've had such a culture built on growth and development. And that's because myself and Coach 12 Trees, I believe we were the ones that really gave ourselves to the players and to the program to make sure that these guys know we're here for them and we're here to help them develop and be the best versions of themselves, both on and off the field. And I think that's kind of just blossomed into what it is now.
And the proof is in the pudding with the record and getting to the Final Four and the finals. Talk us through that experience here. I'm going to share our screen.
Yeah.
And talk us through this experience.
Yeah, all three of the Final Fours have been such different experiences. All three been amazing experiences in their own ways. I felt like in 2022, we had brought in 23 players that year in kind of our first real recruiting class. And we were very much the underdogs throughout that whole journey. And every single game, like, it just kept getting more and more exciting, more and more belief amongst the group that we could really do something special. And then ultimately we lost in the national championship match in 2022, in my opinion, to the best team, one of the best teams I've seen in college soccer, which was the 2022 Franklin Pierce team, who hadn't lost a game in about 2.5 years. And then this season in 23, there was such a huge belief in this group that we could do something special. And I know from day one with this 2023 group that we're watching now, these moments here, we had such an experienced group. An older group had been to the final. We returned pretty much the whole team, added a few pieces here and there. And I know this video right here is the picture I have up on my behind me right here is that group right there. And I think that group, there was no doubt in their minds and in our minds we were going to get back to the final. And then obviously we get to the final and we had a very, very tough game again against a very, very good Franklin Pierce team. But again, that group was much different than the 2022 team, whereas the 23 team, we really believed that we were going to get back to the final and that we deserved to be there and that we had the tools. And then this year, again, like the group was much different, whereas like this group here, you see them singing, you see them dancing on the bus and all of us are clapping. Whereas I think Trees and I this year with this group, it was a much calmer group. Again, a lot of returners, very experienced guys. And again, this group in 2024, it wasn't all about the singing and dancing. But again, me and him had to change our approaches as well. And we were much more calm with this group. They didn't need to be motivated or riled up because a lot of them had been there and a lot of them had experienced it. And so this group felt way different because in 2024, we were just such more calm every single day with them, just focused one day at a time, each game at a time, and the group just led themselves. But again, it's been an incredible journey over the past 3 years with these teams in the Final Fours.
And bring us up to the current speed. What are you looking for this upcoming season to get back to the national championship, if not win it, right? Because I'm assuming that may be one of the goals.
Yeah, again, I think whenever I took this job, whenever Coach 12 Trees left to go to Florida Gulf Coast and I left and I took over his role, I think that the goals for myself don't change. And it's to win a national championship here at CSU-Pueblo and go one step further than we've been able to go since I've been here. And I think that having the 2025 Final Four here in Colorado Springs, downtown at the Switchback Stadium, a stadium we've been in many of times, played against the pro team in the spring season. Like, we just have such a high motivation to play in an environment with the altitude, in the cold, with all the elements that we know and that we're familiar with. And so again, I think that for us, we're trying to get better every single day. We take it day by day. But at the same time, the goals of the program haven't changed, is that we want to compete for every single trophy that's available for us. And again, this only makes it a little bit sweeter when I talk to the guys now that this year the Final Four is going to be in our backyard.
And you kind of spoke about just like the one-on-one care that you're giving to these individuals, these players. But I'll ask you another question as well that might be similar. What was the magic sauce that you guys did for the last 3 years? Like, what was the magic that you and Coach 12 Trees had? What was the ingredients? Because no teams are doing this, right? I mean, that I know of. So what was it?
Yeah, it's again, it just goes back to I think what him and I always talk about, and it sounds so basic, but him and I are kind of like one of our mantras was just do the right things. Like we have a couple of mantras that him and I have had over these years together. Do the right thing. Special people make special moments, and I think that again, those two right there have said so much about what we've been able to do. And I think that when you get to this level of coaching and this level of gamesmanship, is that there's such small margins between all these teams. So many one goal games, so many moments, and so many games that are decided by one action. And so again, we felt like whenever you do the right things every single day, and again, these guys are grown men. Like a lot of these guys in these videos are 18, 25 years old. Like they know what the right things are every day in terms of showing up and training every day, taking the right mentality, going to class, doing the good path. And so again, we always remind them every day, do the right things, and then we'll put ourselves in a position to win football matches. Obviously, things go the wrong way. There can be a red or whatever it is. In time, like you do the right thing, put yourselves in a good position to win the match.
And tell us from your personal experience at coaching at CSU-Pueblo, what brings you back as head coach? Like, what was one of the things, regardless of the wins and losses, like, what was the one thing that you were like looking in the mirror and saying, I've got to go back to CSU-Pueblo? Because I'm sure you had other offers in other places, or you can go to other places. Like, what made you take that step to be the head coach?
Yeah.
Because now you got pressure, coach, right? You got pressure. I mean, that's the bottom line, is that these guys are proven. 12 Trees has got us to a great place. And how does Coach Blackwell say, all right, here we go. We're gonna keep this going?
Yeah, 100%. I think that what has kept me here for 5 years and now going on to my 6 years as head coach here, my first time, is I think for one is the people. Like I think I'll keep bringing that up. I've had multiple offers. My closest Division One leave, and I always believed in Coach Trees and believed in our project. He's my friend, and I felt like we had such an amazing group of student athletes I've helped develop over these years that leaving them was probably going to be the most heartbreaking thing I ever did if I did do it. And I just could never bring myself to do it just because I love these guys so much. And I continue to love the guys in this program. I've never wanted to leave for somewhere else because there's been so many amazing people that I love coming to work with every day. I mean, I think that one of the ways I've always quantified it is that a lot of people go to work, and I feel like there's always two sides to it. They either love their job and hate their boss, or love their boss and hate their job. And I've always been like, I love my boss, I love my job, and we get to be successful. And so why would I ever trade that for something that I wasn't sure of, or have to leave the players that I love working with every day? And then the next part of that as well is we have an incredible support from our athletic administration. Dr. Plinsky, he's in a lot of these videos, and there's so many people behind the scenes as well that make this a special place. And without him and without the athletic administration and the faculty and staff that we have here, we wouldn't be able to be successful as we are. And so again, having the support from them as well makes this special because they care about athletics. They want us to do well. And so again, like having such an amazing culture of people you want to work with every single day, but also having that support from the administration, faculty, and staff is huge as well.
And when you're recruiting players, I would imagine one of the questions that they're asking you is, what's the potential of, let's just say if I want to play for CSU-Pueblo, what's the percentage of these guys that want to go and play pro soccer?
Yeah, I think that the proof's in the pudding a little bit is that if you're one of the best players in Division II, then there's obviously opportunities for you to play. And we've seen over the years in the MLS Super Draft that the best players from Franklin Pierce that we've played against in these past couple of finals, they've gotten drafted. And so there's opportunities there. But even just from my personal experience in all of this is that I played Division III soccer at a small private school in Lexington, Kentucky that probably very few people have ever heard of. And one of my teammates, his name's Kyle Smith, and he's playing for Orlando City right now in MLS. And he's been there for 6 seasons, and he's playing against Messi now. and he was a guy that played USL2 for two seasons after he graduated from college. He was a tax man. He was an accountant. He just played USL2 to keep fit, paid for himself to go to an open trial at Louisville City, and then made the team as a right back when he'd been an attacking center mid his whole career, and then won 2 USL championships, is now playing in MLS. And so the message to all the guys is always the same. It's like, if you're good enough and this matters enough to you, then there will be opportunities for you. And again, like, we've obviously had players here that are playing pro in various countries across the world. But again, from my personal experience, I've been at an ACC school, 16 guys go pro in 4 years, but also I've seen Division III guys that I've played with go be professionals as well. And so again, the message for the guys is always the same. If you're good enough and you help us go to where we need to go, then opportunities will be there for you.
Yeah, and that's where I think the Santa Fe Gloom, being a pro futsal team, we're trying to navigate that. And that remains to be seen. And that's kind of our challenge, is how do we get the best players in Santa Fe? Where are we recruiting? Where's the path for us? Where are the roadmaps? Where does futsal fit in with college soccer? Does it fit in where, hypothetically speaking, a all-star CSU-Pueblo soccer player comes to Santa Fe Gloom to play futsal in the winter months and then plays with the USL team in the spring? I mean, what are your thoughts there, Coach, in terms of just how does that all like intertwine? Because that's kind of our challenges, and that's kind of my footprint as well, is if I was a high school senior here in Santa Fe and a CSU-Pueblo coach says, yeah, it's 4 hours away, you're going to probably be starting your sophomore year, and we're connected with a pro futsal team or a pro team, I would be like, this is actually looking pretty good.
Yeah, I think that for the guys, like, a message like that is what we always tell the players, is that having connections, finding ways to stay in the game, finding ways that whenever you graduate, you've already built connections that have helped you develop. But at the same time, you have a place that you already have that trust, because a big part that even for these guys that I'm working with here at Pueblo, and obviously when I was at Louisville, I was in a little bit of a different situation being in the ACC. So much of becoming a professional player is not about your ability, but it's about your connections, who you've built in your network, and who you know. Again, there's amazing players across all divisions, and not all of them get opportunities. But the ones that have done exactly what you're talking about, David, who have taken the time to go build connections, go play in different environments, like, you just never know who's watching or who's evaluating you. And so again, like, something that we always talk about with the players as well, is when you have opportunities to build your brand, build your resume, make more connections in all different types of the parts of the game, not just USL2, not just in tryouts for USL1 or MPSL or whatever it is. But the more you can build your network across various levels and various people, then the better chance you get to provide yourself with those opportunities whenever it is time to make a decision to play professional soccer.
And do you think now it's a little easier for players to do that, opposed to like when we were in school 10, 15 years ago? Like, there's more opportunity being had. Do you think that's the case?
Oh my gosh, there's so many more opportunities. Not only in terms of teams to play for. You look at the amount of teams across, like, you have a pro futsal team, MPSL, UPSL, USL2. Like, there's just so many more opportunities in terms of the overall growth of soccer in the U.S., because the teams keep on expanding across all the leagues. But then you also now look at the ability of social media that you didn't have, but also I didn't really have when I was in college back in 2012 to 2016. Like, what we have now for these student athletes to promote their brand, build their own video, continue to promote themselves across various platforms is way, way beyond anything we've ever had. And so their ability now to market themselves has gone up even higher than what's ever been available to anybody. And so again, I think that the opportunities now are even higher for players. It also makes it more competitive, because now a lot of players all have the same capabilities to use Instagram, to use Twitter, to use all these different mediums to promote themselves. And so again, there's more opportunities, but it's also becoming even harder now because everybody wants to use those platforms to promote themselves.
Yeah. One thought that comes to mind too is, and I can get your opinion on this, is where is the sense of like loyalty from a player who starts at freshman year? Like with the transfer portal being so easy to get into, Like, what's your thoughts on that? Because I feel like there may be, and you can fact check me or just tell me I'm wrong, but my sense is there's not that many players who are going from their freshman year to their senior year in one single season or one single career as much as it was maybe 10 to 15 years ago because of the transfer portal and maybe because of social media saying, hey, this is my brand. I'm a Division II player, but I want to play Division I and I want to leave school, right? Or even if you're Division I player, I want to go play pro. So I obviously from like a player perspective, I get it, right? You want to reach your full potential in playing, but then you're also leaving a team, right? And if the goal and the mission is to be, defending national champions, sometimes that may mean that you've got to stay. So
Yeah.
what's your sense on that, and just educate our fans in our group of the transfer portal and just how many players you are seeing that are saying, no, I'm going to stay here another year to be with the guys because I love the program, opposed to, sorry guys, I got to go.
Yeah, it's a great question and great conversation, because the transfer portal, to be completely honest with you, has every year I've been here has continued to grow in terms of the amount of players that enter it. The amount of players that are on it right now is astonishing.
And why is that?
I think that there's a lot of reasons for it. And I think that some of the ones that we've hit on, the accessibility to transfer now, because the NCAA used to have rules to where you can only transfer from a 4-year to a 4-year one time unless you were a grad student, then you could have another transfer. Now that rule is completely gone, to where as long as you're in good academic standing with the university, when you want to leave it, you can transfer as many times as you want. And so again, the rules have changed to allow it to be more accessible for players to transfer as much as they want. And so it's become a lot more easy, a lot more user-friendly, so to speak, for the players, that if they don't like it for one semester, they can just be like, you know what, I can just go transfer. And so I think that the rules definitely have aided to it. I think that society has aided to it as well, is that we live in such a fast-paced society now. Everybody wants the next best thing. Everybody wants to get the next phone, get upgraded. We live in the time of the world where everything's always being updated as fast as it can. And so I think that players, that they have one good semester, they're like, you know what, what's the next best thing for me? And again, if you're at an ACC school, maybe that's staying put. But for everybody else, they're always like, well, what's the next best thing? How do I get to the next school? How do I get to the next program? How do I get that full ride? How do I get more scholarship money? How do I get NLI money that I know is available now? And so again, feel like in society is always telling them, you want more, you want more, you want more. And again, with the rules and how they are now, it's easier to obtain that or to chase that. And what we've been hearing, people talk to me all the time about, it's been very interesting. They ask us, similar to what you've asked, Dave, it's like, what's in the water? Because the players we've had, the Sean Andrews, the Caio Oliveras, the Gabriel Camporas, the Dylan Zavicinis, Iggy DeMarks, like the players that we've had that are all Americans, all conference players, all region players, players of the year, they haven't left. They've been here and they've stayed here. Sean, 3-time defensive player of the year, 2-time All-American. Caio, 3-time all-conference player, offensive player of the year. He's an All-American this year. Those guys were here for 3 years. I mean, those guys could have easily jumped ship after 2022. Gabriel Campora scored 16 goals in 2022, scored 19 in 2023, was an All-American as a striker, finished his career here. And again, I think that these guys have stayed here because we've created this culture where they come to training every day. And again, like we've talked about the recruiting a little bit, is these guys come to a place where the coaches care for them and love them so much and want to help them develop. And we have such a good group of players that we bring in terms of their mentality and why they're here in the character qualities, that they don't want to leave here, because we also educate them on, like, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Like, I think 12 Trees and I, like, we complement each other so well, because he was in JUCO for 20 years, I believe. I played Division III soccer. I coached in the Power 5 conference in the ACC, where everybody wants to play at. And so now I'm at a Division II university. So I've seen various walks of life within college soccer, and so has he. And I think that him and we educated the guys as best as we could, and being transparent with them is, listen, this is what it can look like going somewhere else. These are the challenges. These are the benefits. And again, we try and educate them and provide them with the information for them to make their decision. But at the same time, like guys don't want to leave here because again, like even for myself, like for those players like I named like Kaio and Sean and Dylan and Gabo, like they come here and people believe in them. They get to be successful. They get to be themselves. They get to be who they want to be in our environment and be successful around people they really enjoy working with every single day.
Yeah.
And I think for those guys, they're like, well, why would I want to take a chance and go somewhere else? And yeah, maybe it's a better level, or maybe I have a better chance of going pro. But if it doesn't work out, I don't enjoy my football, then I left something really good. And so I think that's kind of the culture we have here as well.
Yeah, I think most of the players, they will really appreciate it 10 or 15 years down the road when they're looking back, looking at that photo behind you. They're going to be like, I was a part of something extremely special.
Yeah.
So, great, coach. Thanks, man. This has been really educational for me. And I miss playing soccer so much. I hadn't really played since college.
Yeah.
I just joined a 7v7 co-ed league. That's really like my level right now.
Yeah.
But dude, just touching the ball, like shooting the ball, it's like soccer just like it just brings so many people together. The World Cup, I think, is next year, you know? So if the Gloom didn't fulfill like my fancy of playing soccer, 7v7 co-ed definitely does. And I definitely need to get out to CSU-Pueblo to watch a soccer game, because when I see the live streams, I definitely see the fandom and just people and the students have really attached to the CSU-Pueblo men's soccer.
Yeah. And again, I still love playing. However, I've had so many bad experiences now playing an indoor and outdoor that to where now like people ask me, I'm like, listen, I'll play with my guys in training because especially now they're afraid to kick me because I'm the gaffer. And so they can't really yell at me anymore. And I always play as a neutral because I'm like, listen, guys, I defended for 20 years of my life. Now I'm not going to defend anymore. And so but I love hopping in training every day with those guys when I can, and I can play with them still and have some fun. And so again, I get it. And I still love to lace up the boots and get out there with the guys and play in training whenever I can as well. And it fills a massive void for me that I still miss playing as well.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. Coach, thank you so much. I don't know if you have any other thoughts or ideas for us, for our fans, for our audience. But this has been great. I mean, again, I can't say it enough. CSU Pueblo it really just changed my life. You know, I was so prepared to go into the real world, and Pueblo, it has like a certain like grit to it. I feel like even like when you're just driving in from I-25 from Santa Fe, you're just like, oh man, I'm kind of in a different place. But Pueblo, like, I would have to say it's the second best green chili next to New Mexico chili all the time. But I just loved it, man. The business school, just playing, it was just such a special time.
Yeah, and one thing I will add, David, as well, is in this changing landscape of college soccer and collegiate athletics, is people like you, the alumni, doing things like this that help support programs, that help continue to allow the programs to be successful, are so important now. Because when you look across the country at universities closing, programs closing, like it's heartbreaking to see programs that are being shut down or universities that are being shut down with what's going on in the world right now because of all the changes in collegiate athletics and governmental and all these types of things. And again, like what makes these programs strong and allows them to continue to operate at high levels and have the support they need is from alumni like you doing things like this to help promote the program, but also coming to alumni games, being around the guys, like the alumni and the boosters and all of these things are becoming ever and ever more important in an ever changing collegiate landscape. And again, I appreciate you having me on, Dave. And again, can't say thank you enough for allowing me to have a conversation with you and all the support you still give the program, because again, the way that the collegiate athletics are continuing to go, support and people that want to help the programs be successful and help these student athletes is going to become ever more so important.
Yeah, I think you brought up a good point. I may have another question. That makes me think of like Eastern New Mexico men's soccer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's actually one thing that I'm thinking of is, you know, there is, not that I know of, there's no Division II men's soccer in New Mexico. There might be one in Roswell. I'm not positive of that. There's a women's program at New Mexico Highlands, and then we have Division I UNM women's soccer, but UNM men's soccer is no longer. So like really our closest Division II school is Pueblo,
Yeah.
you know? So you're essentially kind of, a radar for us to say, hey, where can we get potential players, work with, et cetera, et cetera. So I think you're right. Like, and I don't know why Eastern closed their men's program. And then again, UNM did. So I think that is definitely a concern that some of these programs and schoolings aren't getting the proper funding that they should.
Yeah.
So.
No. Yeah. The funding's a huge part of it, and again, funding can come from a lot of different places. And again, I think that's why universities, you hear it all the time now, especially at the highest levels of Division I. They're talking about the alumni, the boosters, people that want to be a part of programs, that want to help these student athletes out, are becoming so much more important because it's becoming a very, very tough landscape. And you can see it. I text some of my coaching friends, and you see schools like Limestone, who's a perennial power in Division II, and the university just closed. And now the whole program.
Do you know why that is? Why the university closed?
I'd have to do some more like digging into before to provide accurate information. But you look at a school like Limestone, has been around for so long, and they're a consensual top 15 team in Division II men's soccer, and the program's gone now. And the school's been around for such a long time. And you just look across the country, Eastern New Mexico, Limestone, Academy of Art, Sacramento State, all these schools across Division II like are closing their doors or closing the soccer programs or other Olympic sports. And so it's a really tough time for collegiate athletics. And again, that support and that funding and all these types of things are so important right now because everybody's taking a hit across all levels.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah, no, well, I mean, I think that's good for our fans and our audience to know, Coach, and certainly in Santa Fe. And I think that's why, again, what you're saying is we just have to stay connected. It's that simple.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, Coach. Predictions for your opening season as head coach at CSU-Pueblo. What's your record? How far are you getting into the tournament?
No bulletin board material here for any of the teams we play this fall. But what I can tell you, David, is that for anyone that watches my team play, is you'll see a team that's proactive. We're on the front foot. We're aggressive. We're going to be a team that tries to take the game to the opponents in every single game that we play, no matter the condition, the environment, where we play home or away. We are going to try and be the aggressors in the match and be proactive in everything that we do. And so again, I think that when you turn our team on, we're going to be an exciting team. We're going to be an aggressive team. We're going to go forward, and we're going to be aggressive, and we're going to be proactive. But I'm not going to give any of my opponents any bulletin board material for next year.
Final question. I saw that you guys scored so many goals on set pieces.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah, we had the highest scoring offense since I've been here in 2024 this past year. I believe we scored 53 goals and somewhere around there, and 26 of them were from set pieces.
So that's half?
Yeah, we scored at least half from set pieces.
Yeah, was that planned? Like you practiced that?
It's funny when people talk to me about it. One of my biggest roles when I was at Louisville was the head coach I worked for. His name was Ken Lola. I was the set piece coach at the University of Louisville for 5 years. That was kind of my role. And I'm a big believer in teaching principles of life to the players. And so one I always teach them about is compounding interest. And when the people ask me, like, what does that mean? And I'm like, well, people, whenever you're in school, if you haven't done the homework for the whole semester and then the night before the test, you try and cram it all in, are you giving yourself a good shot of getting yourself a good grade? And the answer is no. But what I tell my players all the time is, listen, if we do 10 to 15 minutes of extra work every single day for 4 years, how much time is that? And they start to do the math, and it's so many hours. And I'm like, so if we do all of this extra work for 10 to 15 minutes, which is little bits of incremental work, and we compound that interest over 3 to 4 years, then on the back end, the dividends will come. And so we talk about Sean Andrews, who should be a professional soccer player right now, scored 10 goals as a center back this year. In 2022, he scored 3 goals. And when me and Sean in the first day of preseason stayed after training, and I'm granny tossing him balls from the goal line so that we can get the proper technique down, Like he only scored 3 goals that year. No one talked about the 2022 CSU-Pueblo team for their set pieces. But like Sean and I are a good example because it took Sean staying after, and then Dylan stayed after, who scored 6 goals this year. And then Kenshin and Kayo, the guys that took the corners, they started to stay after, and it became contagious for the group to stay after. And it wasn't like 12 Trees and I sat down and be like, we're going to work on set pieces for an hour today in training, which I'm sure a lot of the opponents that we played thought that's what we did. That's all we did was work on set pieces. But it was this group of guys who every single day stayed after, and they just worked on it over and over and over again because they were addicted to it, because they saw how much success that we had. And again, we never spent a copious amounts of time in one training session on it. It was these guys just doing little bits every single day. And then year 3, Sean Andrews scores 10 goals as a center back. Dylan Sabatini scores 6 goals as a center back, and Kayo has 10 assists or something like that. And a lot of them are from corners and set pieces. And again, just no secret other than hard work.
Yeah. Thank goodness you guys stayed after practice.
That's right. Well, they know I'd rather be outside on the field than in my office doing paperwork. And so the guys know, they're like, hey, let's go grab Coach Nick. He'll stay after, and he'll help out as much as he can.
Love it. The proof is in the pudding. You guys are winners. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach. Well, obviously stay in touch. From the Santa Fe Gloom community, we're so pumped and excited to see what is in store for your first opening season as head coach. I plan to attend some games. I know my friend Mike, who lives in Colorado Springs, he goes out to the CSU-Pueblo games, and then we definitely stream them when it gets closer to like the tournament time. So we're locked in. So go CSU-Pueblo men's soccer.
Awesome. Appreciate you having me, David. Excited to get down to Santa Fe and help you out as well, however I can, and bring some of the guys down and get incorporated into your community as well. And so we're excited to continue to help you guys out as much as we can as well.
Thanks, Coach. We'll be in touch. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, David. Appreciate it.